You are a bartender in a fantasy tavern. Different races have vastly different tolerances for alcohol, so you need to make your drinks have different potencies depending on who you are serving. You just unknowingly served a shot meant for an orc to a changeling disguised as an orc. 3 copper pieces slid across the wooden countertop, scraping its varnish. Jasper scooped them up and pocketed them swiftly, studying the patron's face as the patron watched the varnish repair itself. Stooped shoulders gave way to an oblong, gray head adorned with black hair and sporting tusks that would make a boar feel insecure. 2 shots of cherry fire. He growled over the mirth of the common room behind him, and the gentle song of that night's bard. Jasper continued to study the orc as he fetched a shot glass. Strange times these were. All the orcs he'd ever heard about were as dumb as a bag of bricks, and half as civil. Half orcs weren't entirely uncommon, but if there was a half to this guy that wasn't orc, it wasn't apparent. He poured the shot and slid it to the orc with a nod. "Forgive my askin', but you're full orc, sir?" The orc gave him a stern look, and Jasper's hand subconsciously reached for the crossbow he kept under the bar. "Upset with the tip?" The orc deflected. "I don't appreciate too much snooping. I'm just a curious fellow, that's all. I was just wondering if you were the orc wizard we'd been hearing about." The orc's eyes snapped to Jasper's. My curiosity is sated, though. Let me know if I can get you anything else." If he wasn't the orc wizard that had all of Cormyr talking, then that would mean there were 2 intelligent orcs in the kingdom. Strange times. Jasper quickly, yet nonchalantly meandered to the end of the bar where his other concern was. 3 gnomes, laughing in a game with small, mechanized figurines. Jasper had a trick for gnomes. See, each race had different innate tolerances for alcohol. Humans, a few beers and they're good. Dwarves, half Goliaths, half orcs, and the like, a keg or so gets them going. When it came to gnomes, however, Jasper just poured flavored water in a cup that previously had beer in it and the little folk would turn beet red and spill their most protected secrets. Any more than that, and he'd be courting chaos. He surveyed the common room, remembering the devastation that a group of gnomes had wreaked when he had overserved them for the first, and last, time. Jasper still had nightmares of music boxes turned grenades. "How ye getting along, fellas? Need some bread? I don't want to see any of you riding tonight." The door opened, drawing the stares of most of the tavern. An orc with an unusually green hue to his skin stood there, clad in ornate robes that were far too tight for his figure. He awkwardly joined the grey orc and the 2 began chatting. One of the gnomes in front of Jasper leaned into him. "I'm not saying there will be something, in fact I hope there won't be nothing, but should a little more than nothing arise, me and my boys are packing. Don't worry." He gestured with his unfocused eyes toward the 2 orcs and pulled aside his coat, revealing a few grenades. Jasper paled. "Whoa there, no need for all of that. How about I just get you some bread?" The gnome leaned back in his stool and tapped his nose, nodding toward Jasper with a smile. He leaned back too far, though, and fell out of his stool. Jasper flinched, expecting an explosion, but the gnome just hopped back on his feet and climbed back into the stool, waving off the laughs and jeers from his friends and other patrons. A rough cough from the grey orc drew Jasper's attention. The 2 shots were empty, and the grey orc seemed to be having a difficult time with it. Jasper cautiously walked back to the orc, greeting his friend, and watched the grey orc as he fought the burning cherry fire. "Need an ale to wash it down, friend?" The orc tried waving his hand to dismiss Jasper, but lost his balance in doing so. He too fell off his stool. Jasper looked on in confusion. Most humans could take that shot in stride, and these burly orc couldn't? The orc climbed to his feet, swaying. Except he wasn't an orc any longer, but an elf. What? What manner of magic? The elf hiccuped and turned to a dwarf. "Son of Groomsh," the green orc swore. "This man isn't who he said he was at all." The bard had stopped playing as all of the tavern looked on in fascination. Another hiccup and the dwarf turned to a tiefling. The tiefling held his stomach in pain, doubled over. Sensing something was about to happen, Jasper and the others took a step back. The tiefling righted himself and let out a mighty belch, growing shorter and grayer, his black hair turning white, and his pupils disappearing. "He's a changeling," Jasper gasped, grabbing his crossbow. Men from the tables in the common room rose, drawing their weapons. "He's after my staff, I've got to get out of here." The green orc panicked, and bolted for the door. Jasper took a moment staring after the green orc. He didn't see any staff on his person, perhaps in a bag of holding? Wait. I'm sorry I deceived you all." The changeling shouted. The tavern paused collectively, everyone unsure. "You see, I'm actually here on noble orders. No one's in danger." Silence filled the tavern, as each person debated the being's words. The silence was broken by another stool falling over, and everyone turned toward the gnome Jasper had talked to earlier. "Oh, gods above." Jasper breathed. The gnome ripped out 2 grenades, holding them above his head. "I'll save us all," he shouted, running toward the changeling. Jasper ducked.